And just like a big old Joe Linton slide tackle, boom! The summer without football and without Eddie Howe's mags is almost over. It's 1 week, well, less than a week, until we face the Heed in the shortest away trip we are probably ever likely to do. And then the pre-season games just keep coming thick and fast. We're going to Scotland, we're going to America, we're going back to St. James's Park for a tournament. And it's back. But if you cast your minds back to last season, there was one surprise package in pre-season who carried a lot of that form eventually into the competitive season. So we're going to be discussing who could maybe spring that little surprise during these pre-season games before the Premier League kicks off at home to Aston Villa in August. So you don't want to miss it. So do us a favour, Newcastle fans, make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you absolutely lovely Newcastle fans. I've had a lovely afternoon. I've just got back from an afternoon in the Toon, Sunday dinner, took the dog over, couple of drinks, the rain held off. It's been lovely. A Sunday well spent, and there's no city that I'd rather be supping a couple of pints and having a bit of beef and Yorkshire puddings in than Newcastle. So I'm doing this video feeling very content before I go to bed. But if you are new, before I get into the topic of this video, if you've never been here before, make sure you whack that little like button, even if you're not going to stick around for all of the video, because that takes you no effort, but it means a lot to me. And if you like this video by the end, drop down and whack that little subscribe button. Go on, do it now. Go on. Just see what it feels like to whack that subscribe. It feels good. Yes, so my subscribers are on the up on YouTube. We're across all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Very jokey content goes out on there. That is where I've got a community of people who wear my merchandise and shout and rave about Black and White Banter on social media as being one of the favourite channels. Lots of jokey content on there. So please, if you're just a YouTube subscriber and a YouTube subscriber alone, check out what I do on there. It's very, very different to what I post on YouTube because of all of the YouTube police rules that you can't post this and you can't post that. So do that now. So, as I said at the start of this video, isn't it exciting? Football is almost back. I am ticking off the days on my calendar until I can make the very short trip over to Gateshead to watch Newcastle play in their first pre-season game. And just like that, the summer's done. They then come very thick and fast. I am supposed to be going down to Rangers. I'm not 100% going down to that one the following Tuesday. Just for holidays at work, I'm a bit unsure. And then we jet off to the United States of America to face Aston Villa, Chelsea and Brighton, which is some absolutely fantastic pre-season football, by the way, in terms of that level of competition and that sort of competitiveness that you want to really get the players up to speed. Because we play in Aston Villa literally a couple of weeks later, so it's a good test to see how Aston Villa line up against us in that first America game. And then we go back to St. James's Park, where we are taking part in a tournament against the likes of Nice and Villarreal and Fiorentina. So yeah, lots of football coming, and it looks a much better pre-season than what we've been used to under Mike Ashley in terms of the players, the teams that we're playing against. But what I want to talk about is what might happen in that pre-season, and more importantly, what Eddie Howe might be surprised by in that pre-season. Now, to give a bit of context to this, if we roll back a year, if we jump in that back to last year's pre-season, where actually we did start at Gateshead, very similar. So this is becoming a yearly thing now against the Heed. And we won down there, but the player who caught the eye, but you took it with a pinch of salt in that first pre-season game, was Miguel Almiron. He scored a couple that day, but what happened from there during our pre-season last year is he just continued it. He got goals in behind closed door games. We went to Benfica. I was lucky enough to go over to Portugal last summer, which was an amazing trip, absolutely amazing. And I know we got beat that day. We missed out on the Eusebio Cup, which would have been lovely. One for the trophy cabinet, just to get rid of some of that dust. But we missed out narrowly. But Almiron scored 2 in that game, and he looked absolutely brilliant. And I think Almiron, whether he'd put extra work in the training ground in the run-up to that pre-season, or whether he'd just done something a little bit different from the coaching staff, down to the medical team, down to the fitness team. We don't know. But he was like a Duracell bunny who'd just done a cheeky line and had just climbed on a roller coaster. That's what he was like. And we know Almiron's always been like that as a personality of a player, but he added a little bit of something. And now, I know I said at the start of this video, he continued that into the season. Yes, I know he didn't start by banging goals. And it wasn't like Nottingham Forest at home last year, first game, he banged in 3. But what we saw very quickly into last season was we saw that purple patch from Almiron. And without making this video too much about Almiron, do I think that was maybe a purple patch that might stay as a purple patch? Yes, but what we have seen collectively, you know, on a whole, if you want to look at it that way, is a better Almiron under Eddie Howe. We have, and it started last summer in my opinion. Now, that begs the question for me, who could this pre-season not only be really big for, with all of them games against really big sides, but who could spring some surprises as well? Now, I'll get the monkey off my back. Can you say things like that anymore? I don't know. But we'll approach the elephant in the room, should I say. That's probably a better word of mouth in today's world that we live in. We'll get rid of the elephant in terms of the first player that would come to mind for me, and probably is a lot of Newcastle fans watching this video. It's Alan Saint-Maximin. Now, I've done videos on Alan Saint-Maximin, whether we should keep, whether we should sell. It's going to be getting discussed about. As I make this video, Romano has done a new update on Harvey Barnes, saying that talks are well off, but it's going to depend on whether outgoings from Newcastle. Make of that what you will. Does that mean we need to maybe start selling to add to that transfer budget before we start signing? I don't know, but that's what's being reported. Now, Alan Saint-Maximin is someone who will always split opinion. He can do lots of things on his day, and if you want to listen to my views on him, go down further. I'm not going to repeat myself on that one. But you feel like if, and this is all going to be based off if he stays, it could be a huge pre-season for Alan Saint-Maximin. It really, really could. Injury-free, get your fitness levels up, try and adapt even more to Eddie Howe's system that's maybe been a bit of a hindrance for a player like him for large parts of last year, and really hit the ground running. Go to America, bang a worldie in against Aston Villa, keep that momentum going. Then we've got Chelsea, then we've got Brighton, then we've got European sides and your Nices and your Villarreals and whatnot. I can't remember which 2 teams we have over that weekend, so forgive me if I'm wrong on who we actually play in. I can't remember which one of the 2 off the top of my head. So it could be huge, and it could be great for someone like him to just get his confidence levels, not only his confidence levels, but his fitness levels to a certain degree. Because Alan Saint-Maximin, we've seen for spells of last season, in my opinion, where he wasn't really at his optimal. And I think a pre-season like this, if you stay fit for it and you see lots of minutes, as Almiron proved, can give a player a fantastic platform to go into that Aston Villa game, first game of the season, and fucking smash it. And Alan Saint-Maximin could be looking at this pre-season as, wow, this is a big one. I'm either going to knuckle down and really force my way into Eddie Howe's plans, or I'm going to throw me toys out the pram and I'm going to force a move away because I'm not sure whether I'm going to get guaranteed football because he hasn't played me from the start in the first pre-season game. It's going to go one of 2 ways for not only Alan Saint-Maximin but his agent as well. His agent's going to want his player playing first team football and not feeling neglected. And Maximin, to a degree, as a lot of fans think, because of what he's done for us in the past, think that he should be given more opportunity than what he has. So that kind of splits opinion as well. But that's got to be my first one, and that's the main one, I think, from a lot of players. Now, the second one, again, sticking with the similar kind of position, has to be Anthony Gordon. Now, I am not for a second saying that Anthony Gordon has any work to force his way into Eddie Howe's plans. Eddie Howe spent £45 million on the man. And again, I'm using this term a lot, that I've done a video on it. I've just done a video yesterday on Gordon's position and changes in the England Under-21 tournament and how that maybe has given Eddie Howe some food for thought into where he can play him in more of a high 10, centre attacking midfield, a free roaming role just behind the striker, because that's what he's done successfully to watch England win their first silverware at Under-21 level for 40 years. Anthony Gordon is someone who had a stop-start season last year with Everton struggling, in and out of their team, the fans on his back. Then he's come into Newcastle, where I think he's pretty much admitted that the fitness levels and the style of play in training and the quality levels in training really shocked him, and he had to get up to speed quickly. I think he said that after the Chelsea game when he scored. it could be huge for him. We could be looking at an animal to a degree that could be unleashed. And I think if you go a year back to when Everton stayed up, Anthony Gordon at times for them was a very, very good player. And I think that's why his stock went up considerably. So again, another huge opportunity for Gordon to see out a start of a full season with Eddie Howe, really knuckle down, bring that under-21 confidence that you've just won player of the tournament, which is huge, and won the tournament, bring that into pre-season. All systems go at Gateshead, smash a hat-trick in, son, and then let's go from there. So there's me two main ones, without a doubt, that could really, really be that player in pre-season, like Almiron was last summer. Now, the next one for me is probably a wild card of a surprise in this summer pre-season, and it's going to maybe be a bit controversial, and someone in the comments might disagree with me, is for me Jacob Murphy. And a lot of people will still see Jacob Murphy as a player that lacks a lot of quality. Yes, his heart's in the right place because he's a Toon fan. Yes, he looks like a great lad to get on a night out with because he's always laughing, he's always joking, and he did finish the season a lot stronger. And that's why I think this pre-season could be huge, because if Jacob Murphy can continue what I saw look like a very different player in that last 7-8 games when he basically forced his way into Eddie Howe's plans than just being a 15-minute cameo substitute. We know he's direct, we know he likes to run at his man, we know he likes to whip a ball in, and we know he has a right foot, unlike Almiron who plays there, which I don't like. I don't like a right-sided midfielder not having a right foot. And that's why there's even the argument for Maximin moving over to that right-hand side, if we were to bring in Harvey Barnes. But Jacob Murphy, for me, there's something I like about his directness in how he plays. And obviously, he had his great moments towards the end of the season. I mean, his goal against Tottenham, his 2 goals, obviously his second one was a worldie. But he did have his moments for us towards the back end. And if he can continue to just work on maybe that decision, maybe that finish when he's through on goal, because we know he's never been great at that, when he has a lot more time to think, maybe that quality of the pass. We know he's got the pace. We know he's got absolute energy levels like a Duracell bunny like Almiron to burn. This could be another huge pre-season for him, because I think someone like Jacob Murphy, it's fair to say, knows that Newcastle are adding quality. And he's probably, if he's honest with himself, when he's sat at home with the missus having a kind of lager watching Coronation Street, if he was asked behind closed doors, he probably knows he's maybe one of them players that might fall out of the pecking order the more Newcastle continue to improve and look to bolster that Champions League squad. And it's exciting for him as a player playing in the Champions League for his team that he supports. And I think this summer gives him an opportunity to just keep working at his game, use these pre-season matches to absolutely smash it. So that's my wild card. It is. Now, going with a more controversial one, not a wild card, but someone who I think a lot of Newcastle fans might say, well, he's great anyway, for me is Joe Willock. Now, before you get on me back with this one, I love Joe Willock. I think he offers us so much, and I think Joe Willock's work rate for us and what he offers us goes unsung by a lot of quarters of Newcastle. He's not the hero that gets chanted like he maybe was under Steve Bruce when he was scoring goals every week. His ability to carry the ball is brilliant. His ability to take a man on with his change of pace can be brilliant. But what I would like to maybe see more from Joe Willock of is exactly what we saw under Steve Bruce, which is a statement I never thought I'd say it, when he was banging goals in. If he could offer a little bit more in that final third, and I know he got, 6 assists and 3 goals last season? That's off the top of my head. That stat might be wrong. Hang on. I've got my computer in front of me so I can literally check. Yeah, 6 assists and 3 goals in 35 appearances. I'm looking for a little bit more than that, because if you look at Joe Willock, if you were to ask Joe Willock what he's good at, he's not going to say defending. He's not going to say, any of that sitting work in midfield. He's going to say attacking, creating chances and scoring goals. So 6 assists and 3 goals in 35 games. Maybe this is an opportunity for Joe Willock to just push on a little bit. And I'm going to go back to what I just said. That is not me saying he doesn't contribute enough in this system for Eddie Howe. I think he's brilliant. And he really, really probably deserves a little bit more praise than what he gets in helping us get that Champions League football. But maybe just that sprinkle of goals could be another opportunity for him to come back even stronger this year. Because signing big expensive players like Tonali keeps every player on the toes, and that's only good for competition, and that's only good for Newcastle United. So that's my more controversial one, where some people might say he's already good enough. Now, my youngster has got to be Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson, I think, will get plenty game time at Gateshead, at Rangers, against Chelsea, against Brighton, against Villa, against all the other amazing teams we've got. I think Eddie Howe will do so much rotation across this pre-season. And if Elliot Anderson can really, really get hold of that football, make things happen, I think we still, and every time I've watched him in snippets, I still think we have a fucking fantastic footballer on our hands in Anderson. But can he just make sure that Eddie Howe doesn't get tempted to loan him out? Now, I would still love to see Elliot Anderson loaned out, and I know we've got lots of games in the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. I just think for a player's development to be playing week in, week out from the start, I think he's championship ready. So that's where I stand with him. But wouldn't it be amazing to watch him smash Chelsea and blow Brighton away over in America with some lovely assists, some lovely touches in the box, a couple of goals maybe? You know, I can visualise it now, the Geordie boy lighting up pre-season. And just all of these players that I'm talking about maybe being that surprise package that Almiron was for us last season. So those are mine. Newcastle fans, I'm really intrigued to think who you would maybe take a guess could be our surprise package in pre-season that could use pre-season to their advantage to really go into their first game of the season against Villa all guns blazing. There's a couple I maybe haven't mentioned. I'm thinking about like Matt Targett from a defensive point of view. What can he do in pre-season? Going a little bit further than that, you go on. Strikers are pretty much set for us. Almiron could have another good pre-season again. Just because he did it last year doesn't mean he can't blow teams away again this summer. But yeah, it teased me the thought about what Almiron did last year. And that's what makes pre-season exciting. The football can be a bit shit. The football can be a bit slow. But you're always caught off guard by something and someone. And you take note of that going into the competitive stuff. So let me know in the comments, who's your pre-season surprise package potentially going to be if you were to wave that magic wand or look into that crystal ball. And if you haven't already and you've stuck around this long, whack that like, whack that subscribe. I've mentioned the America pre-season games. You can bet your right ball, if you're a bloke, that I am going to America to watch those pre-season matches. So that'll all be coming up. Drop down, whack the like, whack the subscribe, and hopefully the next video might be another bit of transfer news. Is it going to be Harvey Barnes? Who knows? We'll keep our eyes peeled. But in the meantime, get us across all social media as well, and I'll see you soon. How are you, lads?